Hey, I'm Emma. This is chapter 4 of The Son of Garcel. Just starting to get good. I wake up to hear Drano spooked. Sitting up, I look around, anxious and weary. A low growl from behind the boulder makes me jump, and I fumble around with cold fingers to find my dagger, disoriented. I stagger to my feet in search of my sword. It is in the saddlebag underneath Drano's clumsy hoof. Gripping my dagger, I bite my lip as a giant Urfane saunters into view. Drano rears in panic, trying to pull away from the tree he is tied to for the night, but the creature is after me. A wild Urfane, the first one I have ever seen. Its white coat is stained with dirt and blood. My eyes widen as it releases and retracts its 6-inch long claws, as if to prove that it can easily drive its poisonous claws into my chest. My heart pounds in terror. Its red, cold eyes meet mine with all the anger of 500 years of war within them. Why did I spend the night in this horrific place? It charges me, and I jump away, my presence of mind returning to me. I look for a place of advantage to stab it with my pathetic dagger, heart pounding so loud as to deafen me. I scramble up the boulder, hoping it will follow, and I will get a clear shot at its head. A small chance, but a chance all the same. It slinks around the rock, glaring up at me, looking for the best place and time to pounce. I grip my dagger, shaking. Out of nowhere, a hooded and cloaked figure in deep red appears, sword in hand, sword in one hand, dagger in another. With a cry, they throw the dagger into the Urfane's side, then drive the sword into its back in the next second. The creature is dead. "You can come down now," a voice from inside the cloak says. A fair voice. As I venture off the rock, the hood falls down to reveal the most beautiful face I have ever beheld. Eyes so deeply green they make the forest seem shallow, hair so dark the midnight blushes in comparison. She is tall, nearly as tall as I am, and so imposing. She retrieves her sword and dagger and then prepares to put her full attention to me. "My name is Denna," she says through blood-red lips. I stand up tall to make sure I am even a bit taller than she is, and then bow respectfully. My face hot from embarrassment that this girl should kill an Urfane for me. "Shaden," I reply, with the alias I had previously chosen for myself. "This is a strange place to find a boy venturing," she says. I blush, wondering how she had realized I am not yet fully grown. "Your face and form would tell that you are nigh 20, but your eyes are those of a lost boy of 16. I wonder how she had judged me so well. "Come." She beckons me away from the rock and down the hill into a small valley of thick, young undergrowth. I untie Drino and follow her. She leads me on a thin path, through it and up to a small town with smoke rising from the chimney. I know that this is the very spot that the old rebel camp once was, and the house at the edge is in place of Larkos's tent, if my family described it correctly. I keep these secrets to myself and try to hide my surprise because my knowledge might arouse suspicion. She leads me directly to the house with a small overhanging beside it. It takes Dreno's reins and leads him into the shelter. Then she opens the door of the house. We go in. The house is small, but not suffocating. There is a wooden table with 4 chairs, a stone oven, and then a door, slightly opened, straight ahead from me and leading to what I suppose is a bedroom or sitting room. Passing by it, I go to the table, making sure I catch a glance into the other room where a woman sits with fair hair and pale skin. And when she looks up, disinterested, to glance back at me, I see the same green eyes that Denna has. She must be Denna's mother. What are 2 beautiful women doing living in this forsaken place? Where could their father be? Denna opens the oven, and the heavenly smell of spiced roast enters my nostrils. My knees weaken at the scent, and I sit down. "I must know, Shaden, why one so young has ventured so far and deep into this abandoned place, she says. Not to seem rude, Denna, but my business is my own. She smiles, as though her smile might charm a response out of me. Wordlessly, she unpins and removes her cloak to reveal a low-cut dress. I blink a few times and glance up at her face quickly. My mother was strict with me when it came to treating women. She would lecture me for nearly half an hour every time she would catch me staring at a woman in what she described as an ungentlemanly manner. She was perhaps a little too strict. But as a prince, I feel it is also my duty to always behave in a respectable manner, as fitting my position. Sitting down on a rickety wooden chair, I study this mystery in front of me. I'm puzzled as to why this girl is behaving and dressed to be provocative, but her movements are like that of a hunter or even soldier. She holds her head erect and her steps are firm and solid. I note her hands are rough and calloused, and her arms nearly as muscular as a man's. She pulls the roast out of the oven and proceeds to cut it with a hunting knife. I smile, intrigued by this girl who is attempting to seduce me while unknowingly behaving like a tomboy. You smirk like you know a secret that you dare not tell, she says, leaning forward to serve me a plate of meat and flash more of her exposed chest. I turn away, uncomfortable. A secret perhaps you dare not tell me, but that I have realized already. She takes for herself several pieces of meat and sits down from across from me. You seem mysterious. She smiles again. I blink to remind myself that she is actually real. You are beautiful, I reply. She smiles again. Eat, Shaden. We are the only place of hospitality within days on horseback. I nod. Thank you, fair friend. I will find you a companion to take you through the forest to Colis, she says. I do not need a companion, I say quite quickly. Do not flatter yourself, boy. You are hardly equipped to travel alone. Your steed is grand, and your form strong enough for one your age, but any boy can be killed by a couple Urfanes in the forest. I am annoyed, but I resolve to humor her, as she is not only exceptionally beautiful, but is also the only person I have met for many days. You will, of course, have to pay me for my services. I glance up at her, surprised. And what services are those? I saved your life, to start with, provided you with an excellent meal, and found you an ideal companion for the rest of your journey. I feel my face flush. I could have killed the Urfane, and I haven't even met this person. You could not have killed the Urfane. I do not doubt your skill, merely your weaponry, and your companion is the ideal person to travel with in these dangerous parts of the forest, she says. I study her eyes for a moment. They are hungry. She is desperate to get all she can out of me. I smile. Very well, fair lady. As you are so desperate to attain some of the contents of my purse, I will comply, for you clearly need it more than I do. I take my purse from my belt. Her eyes flash. She stands to her feet, with her hand at her sword hilt. I could take it all easily from you, boy. I remain seated in my chair as I slowly open my purse to watch her greedy eyes. Unlikely. Besides, what would your father say? A knowing look of bitterness and something else I cannot quite make out comes over her avaricious face for a moment. My father is dead, she says. I lower my eyes. So that's why she is so wild and desperate. I am sorry, Denna. She smiles again, this time making no show to hide the glint in her eye. It is of no consequence. He died before I was born. She is hiding a secret from her, as I am. She is hiding a secret from me, as I am from her, but neither of us will be very likely to satisfy our curiosity about one another. Now, you must tell me why you are so deep in the forest on unknown paths, she says, her voice becoming low and soft. I wonder how many fall for her wiles. It is plain to see that she holds me with contempt, and is completely fake as she speaks with me. The path is not so unknown, fair friend, I begin gently. Unknown to most, but many years ago it was laid by General Raeliff for those who were brave enough to follow it. Among those was my mother, who told me of the Scarlet Trail. My father married her soon afterwards because of her beauty, but sadly was no better a man than the rebel she escaped from. He is a captain of a Tarleton regiment. I took the slave path through the forest. Then I turned directly to Colis Valley, where I intend to hire myself out in whatever town or valley may want me. Prepare a place for my mother far from Whitestone, where he can no longer get to her. I smile, secretly delighted at how exquisite my lie was. Honorable, if it's true, she says. As true as my purse contents, I respond. She tears her eyes off the table where I am spilling a few coins and letting them flash in the lamplight. You are a strange visitor here, she says, and you are a strange puzzle to find in such a place, I reply. She smirks her secrets at me. Have you solved anything yet? I don't think you want to know the pieces I've put together. Try me. She leans forward at the table to remind me of the little she is wearing. You are a contradiction, fair friend, I begin. Your manner, habits, and speech are clearly one of a hunter or soldier, yet you attempt to seduce me as a common slut might. Her eyes flash. By your temper, independent spirit, and resourcefulness, I see no reason why you should attempt to curry favor by using your feminine attributes. You have no need of men, not even of their purse strings. I meet her furious eyes. And you are truly, unbearably beautiful. She smacks her rough hand on the table in anger. And you are a self-righteous, irritating prick, I laugh. So what will be your price for my purse? Keep your filthy purse. At this point, her mother enters the room. She glances at me, my purse, and then back at me, as though she saw something in me but couldn't quite make it out. She is dressed in the same fashion as Denna. Denna, who is this fine guest you have served? She asks evenly. The drool of the Urfane I killed today. My dear, you must not lose your temper, she says, while still staring at me. I will lose my temper at whomever I wish, whenever I wish. We both know I'm the only reason we're alive. Denna nearly roars at her. The woman remains completely unfazed. My name is Elena, she says. I trust your journey has been favorable? I grin, even more so, since I have entered your doors. I stand to my feet and bow to the lady. She smiles genuinely to my surprise. You remind me of someone I once knew. I bow again. I have a common face, I respond. Denna takes a moment from her rage to stare at us. No, it is in your eyes, she says, studying me still. She blinks. Is there anything we can provide you for? Denna makes a deep and obvious expression of anger from her throat. I was only hoping now to pay for your daughter's hospitality. Denna, go get Barian. Tell him to prepare for the journey. Nicely, she adds. Denna glares at her mother and stomps to the door Elena just came out of, slamming the door behind her as she leaves. I apologize for my daughter's behavior, says Elena. I note that Elena has a far more feminine way of carrying herself than her daughter. It is of no consequence, I reply as I sit down to count out some coins from my purse. Denna returns, her face flushed, but not from anger. Would 20 silver coins be satisfactory? I ask, focusing entirely on Denna. Why so much? Exclaims Elena. The extra, I say, standing to my feet, is for Denna. I attach my purse to my belt again, to buy herself either a flawless bow and quiver of arrows to hunt with, or a purple silk dress to flatter her wild eyes and cast a pure light upon her untamed midnight hair. I bow gallantly. I will saddle my horse and wait outside, I say. I take a piece of meat off my plate and leave the house in a grand victory. Saddling Drano, I look back at the house. This will not be the last time I will see you, Denna, I whisper. I will win your heart and your beauty as any noble wins his lady. I put my hood over my face. So I will swear on this cursed spot, and may it make me as the men who once lived here if I do not. The door opens again, and a tall, muscular man leaves the lonely house. Curiously, I approach him. His gristly face parts into a smile. You are the one who angered Dennis so greatly. I bow courteously. Shane, if you please. Barian, he says in a deep voice as gristly as his beard. Where is your journey taking you? I hope to reach the city of Mako, then perhaps further into Colis. Barian nods. I go to the village of Perchlon, 10 miles from Mako. Denna was right. She did find me a good companion. He certainly seemed imposing. My horse is tied behind the house, he says. I nod and watch him disappear. I stare at the strange house. A curtain moves from the window and a pair of beautiful eyes peer out, innocent and curious with no guise. I meet them with a steady gaze. My heart pounds at the true beauty of this angel of the trees. She turns away quickly and closes the curtains.